I'm back. I have no intro or outro. That is my intro and outro. I'm just gonna say intro and outro. But anyway, so I couldn't really remember. I guess you'll tell from the title of this, but I couldn't remember what I dreamt last night because I only had like 2 hours of sleep. I went to sleep from like 7 a.m. to like 9 a.m. and I squeezed like some kind of like massive dream in there anyway, but I lost a lot of it because it just randomly hit me because I was driving in the car and for some reason something mentioned the word zombies or something. I can't even remember what made me remember. Oh gosh. But anyway, I'm gonna try to think through this and see if I can remember even more details. How do like people that are like they don't do this, but I mean people that are like being a little dastardly, is this how they do it? They do something with their hands. They do like, that's right, they do the steeple. Trying to remember the details. But yeah, so all I could remember so far was that I didn't realize this myself or in dream until way later on in the dream, but it helps to just tell you it now. I was maybe I shouldn't tell you it now. I don't know. I'm not a very good storyteller, but I was in some kind of place where there was, again, which is a common theme in all of my dreams, a mall, a school, a hospital, and I feel like there was something else, but I can't remember. So, there's those three things. Get over here. My camera's off skew. And, it was like a zombie outbreak happened the first time. And so I see everybody. I think I was in the mall, cause I was too old for high school. I'm not sure why. I mean, I guess I'm sure why the school was there, but whatever. So I was in like the mall area and just going about a normal life, I thought. So I thought. And there was some kind of zombie outbreak, monster, I don't know. I don't know if you can call everything that just likes to eat people zombies because, I mean, I kind of classify them as monsters, but I don't know. Think what you want. So, anyway, these, I remember the first time it happened, like kind of what they looked like because I was with people that, you know how when you have dreams, some of them, even though they're like your friends or whatever, they're faceless, you know? They just look like this the entire dream, like somehow. They're like, hey, how you doing? But then, so, I think the first one was basically just the thing that changed them. I remember their eyes, because the person running behind me, I was holding their hand, pulling them, you know, with me, and I was ahead and they're behind, you know, and I turned around because I heard a yell, and it was like very instantaneous, like turning that time. Some of them, as you'll see, didn't take very long, but this person, I turn around, I'm still holding onto their hand, pulling them along. They had a person like bite them like somewhere on their arm, not the one I was holding. But, and they shook them off and we were running and they started to like slow down and I'm like, stop slowing down, like pulling them, you know? And then I turned around and I remember looking and like their eyes just turned very red, like the inside of their eyes, you know? Like, I don't know, like the white part was red, you know? And then, like, they didn't have any iris. It was just all pupil. And so, and then there's just, like, a little difference in, like, their facial structure. Like, veins stood out. and just their skin was real red, and they just looked crazy, you know? When someone's just coming at you like, you know? You can just tell they're crazy. Something's not right. Unless you're on, like, well, no, I'm not going to say the name of the streets around me. But, I should have. Anyway, so then I remember I got bit, you know, from this person, because I'm, like, trying to drag them, and now they have my hand, so they weren't letting go, and they overpowered me, I guess, and I got bit, and I remember just feeling sick and whatnot, and then I wake up in a hospital because I just blacked out. So after that, the hospital's just like, oh, you just fainted. And I'm like, oh, all right. Am I okay, you know? Am I okay? Is that a word? That should be a word. Okay. It's just like okay, but you're talking about everything. Am I okay? But that's what I said. No, I didn't. But I don't know what I said. Something like that. So then, they were just like very dismissive. They were just like, get the fuck out. So, I lost the bottom of this and I'm sad. But, so I just leave, not asking any questions like a normal person would. And, and then I go about what I thought was normal life. And again, I couldn't remember anything. I didn't remember the zombie, monster, whatever attack. And then, so the next part, I felt like I was in like some just weird office hallways. I don't know, like maybe there was an office. There had to have been. I feel like there was an office. I feel like that was the fourth part that I couldn't remember earlier, because like, you know, when you hear the end of it and what really it was, that would be necessary because people would need that place. But, so they were like, I was in some kind of office, and same thing happened, but of course I didn't remember it ever happened before. And this time, like, the zombies, like, I'm just gonna call them zombies, when I got attacked, I didn't have friends with me or anything. I just randomly, like, someone, like, bit me, like, on the shoulder or something. And I remember thinking, like, trying to fight off, like, the feeling of, which is a common reoccurrence in my dreams, of either being injected with something, hit in the head, or whatever, and I have to fight off the feeling of sleeping, which you think would wake me up, but it doesn't, so I don't know, I must be, like, a level 10 sleeper. So I remember trying to fight it off, you know, and then I remember, like, you know, growing, like, weird teeth. I remembered things. I looked down at my hands, and, like, my hands were turning purple, and I had, like, my nails, like, turning into, like, kind of, like, claw-like things, you know, like a weird monster. And so I was like, hold on. Is that better? It looks way better. I don't know why these people always have lights on them. Weirdos. You don't need lights. But, so I'm gonna continue the rest of it like this. Just 'cause I want to. And, but then I woke up again in the hospital. And had no memory. And they said I fainted and they let me go. And then this time, I say after, like, there was, like, 5 or 6 different times I can remember it happening. Not in the dream, but now. And I can envision all the different little types of, like, monsters in my head. Little zombie types. And, I think my favorite were these ones that, like, ran on the ground on all fours, because I don't know why, but that's just hilarious to me, because when, like, people just scurry around on all fours, it just cracks me up. So that was, like, my favorite kind, and they just kind of looked like regular people, except they had, like, all their teeth were kind of, like, long in a way, except, like, yeah, like, more like vampire teethies in a way, I guess. And, they, had like larger eyes, and they had the whites of their eyes, but they had no iris, and it was just blackness. So it was like that. I don't think they had eyebrows. They still had all their hair and stuff. So it was pretty funny watching people with like my color hair just scurrying around on the floor, like looking like weirdos. But it was scary in the dream. So I, again, got done in by one of them somehow and wake up in the hospital. And this time, I think I vaguely remember. I'm not sure if it was that time, but I know one of the times I started to remember. And so I'm talking to my friends, and I'm like, guys, why are we always waking up in the hospital? Don't you think that's slightly weird? And they're like, what do you mean? This just happened. And then they think for a second, and they're like, oh, wait. I think I have woken up in the hospital more than a few times. And they said nothing was wrong. And so we're starting to think about this, and I think I finally remembered. It's like when you look around, and I wish I could tell you about this story that would give you a great example of it, but it would take me like 10 minutes to tell you the story, and that'd be way too long. But it was just like you knew something wasn't right. Like we started looking around, and some things you could just tell were off. Like everybody was just like, there were no like depressed people really. There weren't like I don't know. I mean, like I said, there was people with like my hair color and stuff, but there weren't like people dressed super crazy. It just seemed all very normal. And something that we were remembering from somewhere else was different. And so we were like, we need to figure this out. And then guess what happens? Zombies. So then, this time, I was like, alright, putting the pieces together, wake up in a hospital, and I'm fine. And I managed to escape for a little while longer this time, but again, I woke up in the hospital. But I retained my memories from the last time a lot better. So then I was like, why is no one talking about what happened? And so me and my friends are forming, we're putting it together more, leaving notes in places, but then we'd find the notes that we remembered were there would vanish and stuff like that, and just odd things that couldn't be right. And then I was like, hey, have we ever been outside? And they're like, what's that? And I'm like, oh, like outside with like the plants and the sun and that kind of stuff. And they're like, oh yeah, that's a thing. And we were like, oh shit, why are we never outside? And then we realized like we are definitely trapped in some sort of weird experiment. And I was the best guess that I came up with, or all of us did, was that some government made this fake area. They made a work area, the offices, the hospital, so that we could wake up in and just be normal, and they could tell us all their lies or whatever. A school for like the younger subjects or whatever, and then like a sleeping quarters type of area. And so I figured they must be testing these viruses they already have, and they have the cures to all of them, but they're studying effects, I guess. And I don't know why. I mean, if you already have the cure and stuff, you think it had been studied enough, but I don't know. I probably shouldn't poke holes in my own plot. So I was like, we need to make a plan where, you know, they have to be coming in and out of this place, because they're obviously the ones in the hospital telling us, oh, you're fine, you fainted, but there's nothing wrong with you, and just let you go. So we were like, well, obviously there's going to be another monster attack, and we're all super scared about it now because they're painful and they hurt every time, apparently. But I wasn't very lucid in this dream, so I couldn't really feel pain or anything like that. So I don't remember anything hurting, but I remember being scared that it was going to. And that doesn't sound very likely, but emotions are weird, aren't they? Um, so we're like scared because we know there's going to be another attack, and we know everybody's probably going to get turned or whatever, and they're just going to fix us again and reset the whole thing. And I don't know, were they like waiting for one they didn't have a cure for? Were they seeing if there was like mutations or different people handled it different and stuff like that? Which they did, because several different like types of monsters, there was different kinds. Like the ones that scurried around on their hands and feet, you know? Like I scurried around on my hands and feet. I remember I could smell really good too, which is crazy because you shouldn't be able to remember smelling in a dream. But I remember smelling like, it's like, it smelled like like beef stew or something. Like, imagine being really hungry and then like smelling like a nice like pot of soup. I don't know. It was something so dumb like that. I swear. That was the dumbest. I mean, but I'm pretty sure that's what I smelled, unless it was spaghetti, but I don't know. Just imagine starving and then smelling like spaghetti or like some beef stew. But so it smelled good apparently, even though I don't eat meat, so whatever. It still smells good to me. So we came up with this plan, and we were like, well, we'll be at our strongest when we're monsters, but there has to be a door where they're coming into the hospital, so we figured somewhere in the hospital, so we need to investigate there. But since probably all the staff is, the people, then it's going to be hard. So we figured people go in there for probably common ailments and stuff. So our group kept making up common ailments that would happen, like someone's slipping and, hitting their head or whatever, stuff like that, and trying to investigate it. And the only weird thing we found walking the layout of the whole area, it was almost like a center area, which was the mall, and then it would go off in like branches. So we figured there was one door in the hospital that made sense to go outside. And but it was like right next to a desk with like staffs of people. So we figured at our strongest would be when we're monsters, So but we're mindless like crazy things when we're monsters, so we kind of like, we were trying to work on not being as mindless the next few like trials or whatever. And it worked a little bit. Like, I think we stopped killing each other, because our goal was to leave a couple of the humans human to like think through the plan and help the monster people that turned, that can fight, fight off the guards, so the humans can like work the doors and stuff like that. So as far as I remember, that's literally, I don't remember if we got out. I don't remember anything. And it's not a very fulfilling story, but I mean, that's what it was. And basically that's what I made this for. So the last couple have been very non-fulfilling. They had no ending. But my alarm went off, so, I wonder if it went off whenever I opened that door. That would have been weird. It would have been like my head knew what time it was when I opened the door to the outside, and the alarm went off in my dream, and my alarm was also going off. That's weird. Okay, I'm not gonna think about that because I don't want to. But yeah, anyway, that was it. That was what I dreamt last night during my 2 hours of sleep. So I'm probably going to just go and do what I do all day, which I'm not telling you what that is. And oh, I can end this at a perfect time. So remember, no one told you this today. I love you, and outro. Bye.